2022. We'll start it off as per usual with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first on tonight's agenda is the forestry permit for Lower Hudson Valley Forestry. Do we have anyone here for that?
Okay. Is that Mr. McCracken?
Mr. Prentice?
Mr. Prentice.
If you can.
Could you raise your hand? Oh, there you are, Mr. Prentice. Hold on.
I don't see Mary Lou on the screen.
Yeah, I see her. She's
It's
there.
on the screen.
Yep. Okay, Mr. Prentice, can you talk to us and hear us?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Chris Prentice, forester with Lower Hudson Forestry, representing the application for a selective timber harvest on property owned by Barbara Bowman. The property is located on Lux Road, 2 tax parcels, tax parcel 82.3-1-22 and 82.3-1-24. The 2 parcels total 93.3 acres, of which 43 acres are being harvested. The harvest will encompass a mix of hardwood and softwood tree species ranging in size from 8 inches to 32 inches in diameter. There's a total of 925 trees to be harvested, which is approximately 21 trees per acre. As the application states, much of the harvest is going to be targeting low value, poor quality pine and hardwood species. So it would be considered what you would call an improvement harvest. The 50-foot no-cut buffer is shown on the map. It's also shown if you go out in the woods. The property lines are all marked with triple blue slashes. The erosion control plan for the property, upon completion, all of the skid trails and landings will be smoothed and graded. Water bars will be installed as per the state's best management practices for erosion control. There is a DEC classified stream in the eastern portion of the property that will need to be crossed. The DEC has issued a stream crossing permit for that, which is attached to the application. The crossing is actually in an old woods road crossing. There's stone abutments on both stream banks. So what we're planning on doing is just putting in a small temporary wooden skidder bridge. The bridge will be removed upon completion, and the approaches will be restored to what they are today. Access to the property, there's 2 proposed landings, both on Lux Road. The landing in the west is an old landing location that was used approximately 15, 16 years ago. The landing area in the east is currently just an open field that had an old farm entrance in it. It's likely that the logger would use only one of them, but I figured I would at least give them the choice of one or the other. It's expected that the entire project will take approximately 45 log trucks, and with an expectation of 8 to 10 trucks per week under optimal conditions, the project should take about 4 to 5 weeks to complete. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Yeah, this is Don Smallsley. Are there wetlands on the site?
There is one large wetlands, and it was buffered 100 feet, no cut from the wetland edge.
And that's that area right in between the two cut areas?
Yeah, well, it shows up on the photo as a big, sometimes it has water, sometimes it doesn't, but
Okay.
yeah, that's the reason why the cut area is split.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Frank, you were up on that location. Can you
Yep,
give us an idea what you're
and Chris gave you a very good description. I've seen the markings, the western mark where it was the old landing. I noticed the stone and everything in. He has good sight distance no matter which landing he's going to be using. And I do know where about that bridge is going to go. I walked the property and I see no problem. Trees all marked properly. He did a good job getting everything marked in the buffer zone. So I see no problems up there at all.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Mary Lou, are we doing a public hearing on this?
Yes,
Yep, that's what I
you
thought.
can do your seeker too.
Yeah, I was gonna do the public hearing first.
That's fine. It's not a subdivision, so you can.
Is there anyone here who wants to speak on this logging operation?
Please raise your hand or
Is the
using
raise
the button
hand
the raise your hand button. If you float your mouse to the bottom of the screen, you should see a raised hand if you'd like to speak, and I will recognize you. Mr. Chairman, I don't see anybody indicating that they wish to speak.
Okay, can I have?
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing. Don Smallsley?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll move on to seeker. I'm looking for a motion on seeker.
I'll make that motion, Dr. Lonstein,
Don Smallsley will second.
the negative declaration.
Unlisted, uncoordinated negative deck. Is that what the motion
Right.
is?
Yes.
Okay.
The usual
Did we
Your
go through
lead
the
agent.
form?
lead agency. Yes, please, Frank. You have the form with you?
Frank, they'd like you to go through these. They would like Frank to go through the negative deck.
Just second. Okay, on one, will the proposed action create a material conflict with adopted land use or zoning regulations? And that was no, or small. Will the proposed action result in a change in use or intensity of use of land? No. Will the proposed action impair the characteristic or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristic that caused an establishment of the critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in adverse change in existing levels of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walking? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in use of energy or it fails to incorporate reasonable available energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public/private water supplies? No. B, public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the characteristic and quality of important historic architectural or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in adverse change in natural resources Example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air pollution, or forma, and that was no. Will the proposed action result in an increase of potential for erosion, flooding, damage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to the environmental resource of human health? And that was no.
Is there, thank you, Frank. Is there any discussion on the board?
No.
No.
Okay, we can take, this would be a roll call vote. Mary Lou?
Correct.
Okay. A motion to accept the seeker? Dr. Lonstein?
Yes.
Mr. Odom?
Yes.
Mr. Schmalzing?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Alexandrians?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, does the applicant have the standard form of the requirements from the town on
I do.
logging?
Yes.
You do. Okay, at this point, I will entertain a motion to accept the application.
I'll make that motion, Don Odom.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. You're good to go. Mary Lou, anything to add?
So I do have one question. Chris, will you be able to, when do you think you'll be starting that project? Like, would things dry out now that it's like spring? Or?
Oh, yeah, it definitely won't be this spring. It'll be
Okay.
either summer or going into fall, winter.
Good. Should have asked that before, but anyway.
Yeah. No, definitely don't start anything in mud season.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you very much.
Chris,
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye.
That brings us to Cresco. I know we have a number of folks here from that organization. If you would like to just give us a real quick, brief scenario for those who may be on the call and not
And
totally.
If you could raise your hands and I will promote you to be able to speak.
And if you will mute me, please, since I am recusing myself, Jonathan.
Okay.
Thank you. Just remember to bring me back on.
Do we have someone from Cresco? Just give us a brief synopsis for those who may not be up to speed on the call from the.
Yeah, let me know the names so I can let Barbara know, please, of who's on. Justin
Yeah,
Ryder.
Justin is here, Sabrina's here, Skip's here. Is that it?
Yes, thanks, guys. Apologies. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the town board. Sabrina Noah on behalf of the applicant at Cresco. Mary Lou, we're happy to put an email together. With me today, as always, Marcia Maxwell. We have our phenomenal land use attorney and the folks that y'all really want to hear from, Mr. Justin Ryder and Skip Francis of Creighton and Manning. Thank you so much.
Okay, great.
Good evening.
All right, at the last month's meeting, we closed the public hearing. And that gives us by law 62 days to make a determination. This has been an interesting application, to say the least. We are now in the final decision-making process. Now, my memory is not always that great, but the first time you folks appeared before the board was, I believe, the pre-meeting meeting that we had in September. Is that about right?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
And so we're about 6 months into this process. And one of the things I have to note is that you have been very forthcoming and reactive to all of the requests that we have made, and we appreciate that. This has moved along probably faster than most would have anticipated, and I think we have done a good job in making sure that we have done our due diligence. Seeker was done back in January, at the January meeting on January 18th with a negative deck. And I just want to talk a little bit about where this, in my opinion, is a good thing for the town of Wawarsia. We're talking about the creation of 400 or so jobs in a piece of ground that has been vacant for many, many years, with not a lot of previous interest in it. And this particular application seems to be a very good fit for that location. We have had, now let me ask a question. This is, I believe you have 18 other facilities, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have 18 cultivation and production facilities across 10 states in the U.S.
So this would be number 19.
At this time,
So-
yes, Mr. Chairman.
So you folks have gone around the block a few times on this process in other jurisdictions. And it shows in the alacrity with which you answered all the questions and did what you needed to do. We have spent a great deal of time in a short period of time in doing the due diligence part of our process. There has been an archaeological study done. There's been a traffic study done. An airport, even the airport was asked for the comments. A fire protection review, an odor management plan, which I will talk a little bit about more in a minute, a truck management plan, a lighting plan. All of those issues had been brought up and addressed. I would also like to talk briefly about the water supply. We have, we are not experts in water supply, or either water supply or wastewater. That's why we bring in professionals to advise us on those things, people who do that for a living, and people who are in the process or the position to know better than we. We have letters from the village of Ellenville, and that they can supply the water required with Napanoch Water District as well, backing that up. And we have documentation from both Ellenville and the Napanoch water districts, Ellenville taking the lead role in that. The amount of water that is needed to operate this plant is significant, and we have it in writing from the people who know that we can support the water that is needed. There are also other options, I would imagine, if need be. So in terms of water supply, to address some comments I may have heard, it looks like we've got that covered, and the professionals that we engaged to give us that information have put that in writing. As far as the wastewater from the facility, from all of the documentation submitted, it does appear that the wastewater does not require pre-treatment. It doesn't rise to that level of any kind of concern. The process is similar to any basic agricultural process that we have, and there is no toxicity that will be released that will end up downstream in the process in the Rendow Creek or anywhere else. There is a major upgrade being done to the wastewater system right now, which should coincide with the process if it is approved. So we do have documentation from the village manager and the town water and wastewater superintendent that they can handle both the incoming water and the outgoing effluent. The other point to bring up is the odor. I have reviewed, as well as I'm sure the rest of the board members have, reviewed the mitigation of odor from the facility, which is strongest during certain times of the process and the stage of the growing of the plants. There is, according to the documentation, going to be a dedicated odor complaint contact at the facility in the event that there is any escaping odors, and other processes as air scrubbers and filters and air curtains that have been built into this process to control the odors, if any, emitted from the facility. The applicant is well aware that there is a school that is not that far away from the facility, and has taken that into account. Again, this being their 19th facility, they have taken the steps needed to address the issues that are before them. They know what's required, apparently, because they have reacted to them. It's a 380,000 square foot building, and we have taken all of this information and passed it on to the Ulster County Planning Board. Now, the Ulster County Planning Board is very fastidious when it comes to certain items and applications, and their response back did not include any recommendations, additional requirements to the process. Usually, and that's pretty rare, especially for a process that is this big. So what I would say is the Ulster County Planning Board is in favor of it. Actually, they congratulated us should we go ahead and move forward with this project. They congratulated us and the applicant for getting this far and moving this far with the project. So I think we have addressed the water issue on both sides, incoming and outgoing, and the odor issue as well. And I know there were some questions from some of the other board members that we can bring up now. Frank, I believe you had some questions.
Yeah, and I believe everybody got a copy. I was on a meeting early this morning and they went through all the questions I had. One of the main ones was actually the 13th one about new exploration for columns or footings in the existing slab. And I wanted to know who was going to be monitoring them. They answered that question. It's actually there's 3 levels of people that are going to be watching, including the DEC. And they basically answered every question I had. And that's all I was looking for, was honest answers. And one of the questions again was what you already brought up about the water supply, just asking if they would consider putting wells in just as a backup, so that if an infrastructure went down or something and so that we wouldn't lose the water to the hospital. I've been established that there is a shutoff, so if they had to, they could protect the hospital and not lose the water there.
Right.
So
are you satisfied? You're satisfied? You're satisfied, Frank, with the answers that you got then?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone else on the board have any questions? Now would be the time.
Okay, it's Eric Alexandrian. So I have a question. So we do have Plan B. If for some reason the village of Allenville and town of Worthing won't be able to supply enough water and existing infrastructures not gonna have enough water. So we have Plan B in place. Is that correct?
Plan B right now would be the Napanock Water District, yes.
And shutting off the Cresco facility so that the residents in the hospital would have adequate water.
Okay, is it any associated damages will be done or penalty if, for example, we don't have enough water and Cresco is not manufacturing what they established to manufacture? Okay, so how is going to affect the residents of village and Napanock?
Sure, if I may.
Yes, please.
I thank you. Yes, certainly from day one in our gateway meeting and throughout this process with your planning board, right? Water's been a consistent concern and we certainly take that seriously. Obviously, we need it to generate our product. We believe, right, based on the experts' guidance, that we have sufficient water initially through the village, right, with the town acting as the backup supply. But certainly we are committed throughout our tenure in Worthing to seek new sources and work with the community. We understand, right, water is vital for each and every one of us. So that's why we built the vaulting system the way we could, that we could switch between the systems. That's why there are the shutoff mechanisms should they become necessary. But we certainly anticipate working with the community and identifying sources of water so that we can all thrive and work together.
And I think it's, Eric, if I can just add one thing, I think it's important to remember that the village and the town have both come to us and said there is adequate water. And then we had our town designated engineer for the planning board look at that again. I'm certainly no water expert, but we've gone to those that are. Skip and his design and our engineer and the water departments.
Yes, I honestly understand what you're saying, but in my life experience, sometimes, and I've seen that a lot, you know, it's happening that this is going to happen, and in the reality, if they're going to fix the tunnel, we don't have actually guarantee that the amount of water we've been producing is going to be the same amount.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. I know where Eric is going with this, and I made some notes on the questions that Frank sent to everybody. And a lot of it had to do with OSHA, you know, requirements, which is not our issues. You know, that's something different. But I was wondering that, you know, I believe that like in the village, when you can't drill a well, you have to be on the water supply. But in the future, if we do have issues with water, is somebody who's connected to a public water system, are they allowed to drill a well in a case like this? Because there's going to be plenty of water down there because you have all the streams running right down there. You know, and the water follows the rivers and stuff like that. So underneath there's like all this is water runs. So, I mean, are they allowed to, in the town of Worthing, to drill a well when they're on public water?
I do not know that myself, Paul, because I don't represent the town. But and this is a supposition, that if it's not allowed, there is probably an emergency
Action for it.
process that we can go through with the state of New York
Okay.
and with the town to allow, you know.
And
if there's an
again, all the
emergency.
professionals said that there's plenty of water between the village and the town. So I mean, I was just one of my thoughts that I was thinking as I was reviewing the stuff.
Skip, I don't know if Skip might have the answer to that. I don't know if he's come across that anywhere. I don't want to put you on the spot, Skip, but if you happen to know, I'd welcome your input.
Mary Lou, I think
know.
that, yeah, Mary Lou, I so appreciate the opportunity. And I think we can take that as a potential action item with your direction. But at this time, I so appreciate the fact that we've had so many thoughtful engineering reviews from locally located firms who have verified that the services provided by both redundant systems and a thoughtful mechanism, as you said, will be more than sufficient to supply our needs at this time. So thank you so much. And we can take that as an action item for future conversations.
And I think I would add in, Dr. Leinstein, that and also Eric as well, if the plant gets constructed and it turns out that more water is needed than we thought, and more water needs to be added to the system, probably what would really happen is the company would contribute to expand the wells at like the Napanock water system. And as you said, there's plenty of water in the valley to be withdrawn. That's sort of the way it would get solved 10, 20 years from now if it turned out to be an issue. Not through having individuals drill their own wells all of a sudden, I don't think.
Well, I wasn't asking them to drill
Yeah.
a well. I was
Right.
just in case of an emergency if they had to.
Right. But I think that's really, what would happen in the future if the water system needed expanding, and if it was caused by a particular user, they could address it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my question, should we put that in the condition so that if this will happen, that it's not going to be just village and town who is going to be trying to fix that problem, or the applicant as well?
So if I may, right, traditionally the districts and the systems work, and there's New York State legislation on the requirements. Certainly, I would anticipate, based on our usage, that we'll be one of the larger users in the district, right? Many smaller businesses, many single-family homes, right? And proportionally, we know we would be responsible, right? And would want to seek those upgrades. Condition at this local level of the planning board process can't really be satisfied as a condition. We need to move forward, build, construct, and prosper, right? But then we're happy to be one of your larger users and customers, whether that be for the village system or the town system. And candidly, that's some of the discussions for those boards, which we welcome and we've engaged in, right? But on one level, in a very basic way, we're a customer, and both have expressed interest in having us as a customer, because that keeps the system profitable, and that allows for these expansions, and that allows for these new wells. But really, that's all guided by New York state law and how they set up their districts and their systems. But we're willing participants, and as you've seen from the process, and as the chairman alluded to, our responsiveness, we have a great vested interest in seeing our facility prosper, which we think will, in turn, help the community prosper as well. So, but I don't think we need a condition on this matter.
So basically what we're saying is that in the event that that should happen, we would work together, we'd come up with a solution. Mary Lou, is that your understanding?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And when we say we, it's actually them and the town and the water districts, not the planning board.
Yeah, when I say we, I mean the town.
Right, you mean the town of Wawarsing.
Yeah, and our
Yes,
engineers say there's enough water, so we have to go with the professionals.
That was my initial point I was trying to make.
And that really is the bottom line, is that the planning board it's good to be concerned and to investigate as much as you can. But when the answer you're getting is that there's enough water to serve the project, that's really what you need to work with.
And that's exactly my point. Okay. But that was a good question, Eric. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Any comments? Okay, Mary Lou, there's the open question of the bonding. Do we wait until after the vote on that or before the vote?
I can talk about it a little bit now, but you can wait until after the bonding. And if you, I'm sorry, it's not the bonding, after the vote. And if you do approve this project, we do have a letter from Dennis Larios as our engineer. He has reviewed the site work estimates that were presented by the applicants' professionals, and given us the total for the bond. He says this is fine. It would even cover if we had to take over and use prevailing wage, that this is fine. So that's part one. So if this is approved, we can then recommend to the town board that they use this figure for the bonding. Also, they'll be doing site inspections and most likely building inspections for the building department. This is a very big project, and Robin and Frank are great, but they're already overtaxed, overworked in what they do. So Dennis he had hoped to get it to us today, but I did not get anything. He's also going to have an estimate for the site improvements and the building inspections. So we could do another resolution recommending that the town board move forward to set up an escrow with numbers that will be forthcoming from our engineer.
And in the resolution that Mary Lou and I prepared for your consideration tonight, the condition is that the plans don't get signed until the bonding is worked out with the town board to their satisfaction.
Sure. Right. Makes sense.
So I made that a longer answer than you probably wanted, but bottom line is you can do some resolution if you approve this after the approval.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from anyone on the board? Mary Lou, are we clear for the vote on this?
Well, let's read we have a proposed resolution, which Jonathan can put up for everyone to see. Just to let the board know, there is a little bit that I added to this today after discussion with the acting chair, and that goes to requiring some funding for the sewer plant, because there was a concern by the workers and by the supervisor that electrically it may be overtaxed a little bit. So they're going to we're going to include in here that they're going to fund a generator for that plant to make sure that everybody still has their functioning sewer plant, which is what it's really important.
So we're going to increase the backup generation capacity at the sewer plant.
Right. Okay. I will, at this point, read the resolution. Can you scroll that down as I go, Jonathan? I don't see.
I can.
Scroll it.
No,
okay.
I've got the scroll controls.
Okay. Valley AGRICEUTICALS, LLC, Cresco Labs, marijuana cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution facility. 7 Trade Court, 9 Aluminum Drive, Ellenville, New York. Section block and lot number 83.3-1-2, 83.3-1-7, 83.70-6-19.100, and 83.70-6-11. Whereas the applicant Valley AGRICEUTICALS LLC, known as Cresco Labs, is seeking site plan subdivision and special use permit approval to construct a marijuana cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution facility at 7 Schrade Court /9 Aluminum Drive at section, block, and lot as above mentioned. Whereas the applicant plans to construct a 380,000 square foot gross floor area marijuana cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution facility. The building will be served by 754 parking spaces for employees, 4 tractor trailer load berths, and 4 overhead doors for smaller box trucks to enter for loading. The facility is proposed to be served by municipal water for processing and irrigation by both the Napanoch Water District and the Village of Ellenville, to ensure neither provider is overburdened. For wastewater disposal, the property is proposed to be served by the Napanoch Sewer District. The site was formerly utilized by Avnet-Channel Master Manufacturing Facility, which has been raised. The site is a brownfield subject to a site management plan as required by the RCRA, Corrective Action and Post-Closure Consent Order. The applicant also is proposing to merge the 2 lots at the site and then to divide off 2.68 acres to place the NYSDEC, Environmental Easement Number 2, from the corrective action onto its own separate lot. With this design, the proposed new building and parking will be located on areas of the site previously developed, and total impervious surfaces will be reduced. And whereas the 90.7 acre site contains 4 lots, lots 83-70-6-19.100 and 83.70-6-11 together contain 6.6 acres and are located on the west side of the site in the Village of Ellenville, and they contain a section of Aluminum Drive, a private road, and a portion of the Fantine Kill. Lots 83.3-1-2 and 83.3-1-7 together contain 84.1 acres and are located in the town of Warsing off Schrade Court. The 84.1 acres of the site within the town of Warsing, where the development is proposed to be located, is in the Planned Commercial, Industrial, and Mixed Use District, PCI-MD, where industrial uses are permitted as a special use. And whereas the town of Warsing does not have review authority over land use regulations in the Village of Ellenville, on August 16, 2021, the Village of Ellenville provided a letter indicated that they have deferred their land use permitting to the town of Warsing on this application. The planning board takes no position on whether the applicant requires any village land use approvals and issues not approvals.
That should be no. That's my typo. I apologize.
And issues no approvals on behalf of the Village of Ellenville. Whereas the applicant met with the planning board chairman, town staff, and town consultants for a virtual pre-submission meeting on September 28, 2021. Then the applicant had an informal pre-application meeting with the full planning board on October 13, 2021. The application was amended during November as the applicant acquired additional lots expanding the site, and the proposed building location was shifted southward. An additional virtual meeting was held with the planning board chairman, town staff, and town consultants to discuss the November 30th, 2021 resubmission of the application at the enlarged site. A meeting before the full planning board was held on December 21st, 2021. After public notice, a public hearing was opened by the planning board on January 18th, 2022, and continued to February 15th, 2022, and closed on that night. And whereas the application materials submitted for special use permit approval in support of the proposed actions include.
You don't need to read all of them.
Okay.
We can
do-
say, we can tell the public that every
They
one
are
of
on.
these documents is available on the website and on this list, and it's quite lengthy.
Yes, it is, and I appreciate that. You can scroll down if you wish.
See, that it keeps going and going like the Energizer Bunny.
Okay. Whereas referral to the Ulster County Planning Board was required for the proposed site plan review, subdivision, and special use permit use applications pursuant to the Ulster County Planning Board Land Use Referral Guide and Agreement between Ulster County and the Town of Wawarsing and GML Referral. Comments were received in a letter dated January 5th, 2022, indicating that no changes to the application were required, and the Planning Board considered the application materials submitted by the applicant in support of the proposed action, along with the comments of its consultants made via memoranda, which memoranda are incorporated herein by reference. And whereas the Town of Wawarsing has advised that there is sufficient sewer capacity for the project, but that there is a concern for the potential for stress upon the sewer plant power grid, and the applicant has agreed to furnish funding for a generator to alleviate that concern. And whereas at its meeting held on January 18th, 2022, the Planning Board, upon review of the entire record, issued a negative declaration pursuant to SECRA, which was published in the Environmental Notice Bulletin. Therefore, be it resolved, the Town of Wawarsing Planning Board hereby grants special use permit, subdivision, and site plan approval as described above for Valley AGRICEUTICALS LLC, Cresco Labs, subject to the conditions, limitations, and restrictions set forth below. The chairman is authorized to sign the final site plan and final subdivision plan once the following conditions have been met. All fees, including consultant fees, shall be paid. Preliminary subdivision plan of 4-lot subdivision and boundary line adjustment by Creighton Manning Engineering LLP, on stamped as revised January 26, 22, should be retitled and resubmitted as final plat, stamped by the surveyor with monument or pin details indicated at all property corners, and a title block ready for signature. The final subdivision plan shall be filed with the Ulster County Clerk within 62 days of the plat being signed by the chairman of the Planning Board. No changes, erasures, modifications, or revisions shall be made to any site plans after approval and endorsement by the Planning Board. The applicant shall provide funding to the Town of Wawarsing for a generator to be purchased and installed at the Napanock Sewer Plant to address town concerns about the potential for stress on power at the plant. The maps shall not be signed until site improvements are bonded and a site inspection fee is set to handle the inspections during the construction phase, in compliance with paragraph 112-61 of the zoning code and to the satisfaction of the town board and the town attorney.
Those of you that have been following me for years now on social media, you guys know that I do a ton of different procedures, right?
Okay.
Somebody's got something.
Somebody's got. Can everybody put their selves on mute there? Mary Lou?
Yes, I put myself on mute because you asked me to.
Okay.
Yeah, you can, if there's any discussion, discuss, and if not, you can take a vote. I would recommend a roll call vote on this.
Okay, I was going to ask that question.
See, I knew.
All right, gentlemen. Any discussion? Any open issues that you're not comfortable with? Anything that we can discuss further to see if we can get any additional answers if you need them, or if we're ready to take a vote on this now? Any further discussion?
Nope.
I like the fact that this has been such a large project and it was relatively streamlined. They did a great job presenting all this stuff.
I think the applicant did a terrific job on doing it. I couldn't agree with you more. Dr. Lonstein, your vote, sir?
Yes.
Did we have a motion in a second?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Eric
Thank
Alexandrius
you.
will second.
Thank you. Details.
All right, Dr. Lonstein, that was a yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Odom?
Yes.
Mr. Schmelsey has recused himself. Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Alexandrians?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Okay.
And Mary Lou?
Yes. You want some other motions? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we make if someone could make a motion to recommend to the town board that they how do we put this?
That's why I asked you.
Require a bond in the amount of, you ready for this? $8,956,600 from the applicant for the site work, and that they further provide for the applicant to give the town an escrow for the site and building inspections in an amount to be determined between Bernier and Larios and the town board.
Okay. I hope somebody wrote that down.
The good news is we're being recorded, so Barbara can always go back and look.
Okay. Can I have that, somebody make that motion, please?
I'll make that motion, Don Odom.
I'll second. I think $8 million. I think it's a very big number, but
Actually closer to 9.
so yeah, it's almost $9 million.
It's $9 million.
That's what the engineers or professionals recommended, right? I mean,
Yes.
That is correct.
Yep.
And the applicants agreed.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm second. Okay.
I'm guessing you're not going to do it.
If everybody on the page, it's fine. Okay.
Okay. Mary Lou, we've got a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go. Congratulations.
Yes.
I think you've got
Yeah.
I think you've got it.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
it
Chairman.
I'm going to reiterate what some others have said. It has been a pleasure working with this applicant's team. We've had much smaller projects that were much more difficult to get information out of applicants. And it's been very pleasant working with you. Thank you.
Mary Lou, I couldn't agree more.
Yes, good luck with the project. Looking forward for it.
Yes, looking forward to working with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And I certainly want to thank you for reorienting the building and moving it south onto the site and reusing the slab. That really was a very great improvement to the design and is really helpful to the environment and the town. And I know that was not easy to try to stick to your schedule and to redesign the placement of that building, and you acquired land to do it. That was very good. Thank you.
That was also appreciated by Ulster County, I believe, specifically.
Mr. Chairman, requesting a moment of personal privilege on behalf of the applicant. I would like to add the thanks of Cresco, of our current, our future employees, on behalf of myself and this incredible design team, to members of the commission, to members of your staff, to the wonderful supporters we have across the town and the county and quite frankly, the region. Thank you for this opportunity. And we are so grateful to be able to proceed into the next phase of development in this property. We would be remiss if we did not remember our most vocal and supportive member who is no longer with us. And I would just like to thank the town for the work of our former chairman, Mr. Constable, who just made everything wonderful. So thank you so much. And we will see you very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Board,
Yes.
really good job. You had a lot to review, a really big project, and you guys did great.
Mary Lou, Barbara would like a revised resolution to show.
Already emailed.
Jonathan's.
Thank you so very
didn't get
much.
that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And the newest version with all the little teeny changes, there's email.
Great, thank you.
Nice job to everybody on the board for the last 6 months on that project. Nice, very nice work.
Need to let Don back in. I saw his little note.
All right,
Yes.
here we go.
Okay, are we ready to jump into the next one?
Let's get Don back in.
Here he comes.
Okay.
There he is.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Don?
Yep, I'm here.
Next on the list is ILLUMINE. It's a continued public hearing. Do we have anyone out there on Zoom who is here for the continued public hearing who would like to speak? If there is, hit that raise your hand button.
Okay, they should be coming on board. We have Mr.
Sanjay.
Kentop, Mr. Rawal. And I'm also letting in Jess Walker.
Everybody's on board?
Yes, and Mr. Rawal and Mr. Walker and Mr. Kentop, you should be able to unmute yourselves and talk at will.
Okay, thank you all very much for your continued patience with us, and I'll defer to Mr. Kentop, who will, lead our presentation.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hope we can maintain the momentum of the evening.
I'm sure we will.
Yes.
If you'd like to give us a brief, quick synopsis for those who might be on the call in the public that don't know all the details.
Mr. Raul, would you like to do that?
Absolutely. For the sake of the public, we're building a temple facility that will be used about 14 days a year. It's really to satisfy a religious obligation I have as a Hindu to my aging parents. We have a 130-acre plot of land, have worked with the town to orient the location of the site so that it has a minimal impact both on the environment and both on any sort of traffic flow. And Thomas has been the brains behind the whole operation, with Jess Walker serving as the lead architect. And hopefully we've been able to answer all the questions of the cities and of the counties, and we look forward to answering any questions that the public might have.
Is there anyone from the public who has any comments on this?
You may use your mouse to go to the bottom of the screen and raise your hand if you wish to ask any questions or speak on ILLUMINE Foundation. Mr. Chairman, I see 5 people in the audience and no one has indicated they wish to speak.
Okay, we'll give them another couple of seconds. Going once, going twice. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mosley will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, you have a memorandum from me dated March 7th, and the first recommended action was to open and close the public hearing, take any comments, which you've done. The second part of that comment one is there were two recommendations, required modifications from the Ulster County Planning Board.
Yes, I'm aware. Did you want me to read that letter with the comments back from the applicant?
Or you don't. You could read the entire letter, but mostly, I think my recommendation is that you override just 2 of the items regarding the stretch energy code, which is their second comment,
right,
and the stormwater SWPPP, the stormwater pollution prevention plan. The county had suggested that the applicant look at using alternative energy other than fossil fuels for the structure. And the second one is the county asked that the SWPPP be submitted prior to site plan approval. On the first one, the applicant has asked for you to override the county's recommendation, because for this type of facility and the type of use they're putting in that it's only going to be used partially throughout the year, that they felt that was cost prohibitive. And the second thing they requested was an override on that SWPPP report. And Dennis Larios, our designated engineer, he was okay with the preliminary design, and he was okay with them submitting the full SWPPP after approval. So that would need an override if you wish to, or if you let those stand, then the county requirements would be binding on the applicant.
How does the board, I'm sure, has read that document? Does anybody need me to read that document on live, or are we familiar?
No, I have it. I read it.
I have read it as well. I don't have a problem reading it live if you like. Okay.
For our conditions, so therefore the SWIP needs to be completed before they can be issued a building permit. Is that correct?
I had prepared a resolution. In the resolution that I had framed up for your consideration, I had suggested that that the chairman doesn't sign the plans till the SWIP comes in.
Okay.
So that would be, and then they could apply for building permit.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yep. I don't have any problem with either of those.
Okay. So I take it I don't need to read those paragraphs unless everybody comfortable with that?
Well, I mean, it should probably be put up on the screen or whatever, just for, for transparency.
Okay, I can do that. If you give me a moment, I'll retrieve that document and post it on the screen.
Thank you.
Do we need separate motions for each one, or can we do a combined motion for both?
You can vote to override two at once.
Okay.
Okay, here it comes. Here is the referral form from the Ulster County Planning Board.
Yeah, it's the sustainability paragraph with required modification.
Yes.
That we seek to override that to reduce the carbon footprint. We seek to override that. The next one is the SWIP.
The fire district has already been taken care of. They've approved the 100-foot wide driveway entrance. It's this stormwater one that the applicants asked for us to override, as well as the one on the energy.
Give everybody a chance to read the stormwater section there. Okay, at this time, Mary Lou, we need a supermajority here.
Yes.
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 Basically, I think everybody would need to vote.
Yeah.
We need 5 votes. Yes.
Yeah. Out of 6.
5.
Okay.
Okay, so the vote is on whether to override the county on both of those 2 counts.
Will do we need a special resolution for that, or can we make that part of the final approval resolution?
Actually, wait a second. That's a very good point, Mr.
I think
Schmalzi.
you might have it in the.
I think it's in the resolution.
It's already in the draft resolution. I
don't know whether Mary Lou, you think that we should do
it can be done. It can be done within this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
resolution,
folks,
and it is in there.
It is.
On page 3,
yes,
isn't it?
yes, we did in the resolution we prepared for tonight. It includes overriding items B and D, so that you don't have to have a separate vote. If you adopt the resolution that we prepared for you, it'd be in there.
As long as we have everybody votes yes for it.
Yes.
Or at least 5.
Okay.
5 to vote. Yes.
Oh, tonight's members, yes.
Yep.
Okay. So we can proceed with that vote, Mary Lou?
So let me bring up the resolution. Can you see that, everybody?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, you want me to read that?
Sure, if the board's ready.
Yep.
Okay, ILLUMINE Service Foundation, Inc., place of assembly for worship site plan review off Upper Jenny Brook Road, section block and lot 75.3-2-8.120. Whereas the applicant, ILLUMINE Service Foundation, Inc., is seeking site plan approval to create a place of assembly for worship, and whereas the proposed project is the construction of a 4,800 square foot place of assembly for worship with a 53-car parking lot, an additional 4 handicap parking spaces and 1 bus parking space are proposed adjacent to the building. A new driveway approximately 400 feet in length will provide access to the parking area. The driveway will continue for another 700 feet to the building. The narrative submitted previously indicates that the site will only be used 14 days per year. And whereas the 131 acre subject parcel is in the RU zoning district with frontage on both Upper Jenny Brook Road and Lower Jenny Brook Road, north of Napanock Hamlet. Places of worship are permitted as principal use in the RU district, rural district. The former gravel pit site is currently vacant. The Verneuil Kill, classified by New York State Department of Environmental Conservation as C parentheses TS, runs along the northeastern boundary of the parcel and has a narrow FEMA designated floodplain. The Ulster County parcel viewer does not show any NYSDEC or federal NWI wetlands, nor any hydric soils on the property. And whereas pursuant to section 112-52 of the Town of Wawarsing Code, the Planning Board found the application substantially complete and scheduled a public hearing, which was properly noticed and held on February 15, 2022, and continued to March 15, 2022. And whereas the application material submitted for site plan approval in support of the proposal actions include, and there is a list of documentation there. Is it necessary to read that?
No.
No, because it is all available on the website.
That's what I thought. Whereas referral to the Ulster County Planning Board, UCPB, was required for the proposed project pursuant to the UCPB Land Use Referral Guide, an agreement between Ulster County and the Town of Wawarsing, and the UCPC issued the following
No,
five required.
that should be UCP.
B.
You got it.
B. Yes,
B.
B.
All right.
UCPB issued the following five required modifications as summarized below. A, final approval from septic facilities from the UC Health Department will be required as a condition of site approval. The applicant should look at ways to meet stretch energy code with the use of alternatives to fossil fuels. We're going to take that out.
Well,
Nope,
this is just this is listing what's in the letter. We'll take it out further down.
Got it. The Fire District, Town Highway Department, and Planning Board shall verify the adequacy of the roadway and driveway for emergency response vehicles, as well as for special events. A complete SWIP must be submitted and reviewed by the town and Ulster County Planning Boards prior to site plan approval. Because well water will be utilized, the soil condition should be reviewed because of the history of a fire on the site at a former screening plant, which may have an associated oil spill. The applicant requested the Planning Board to override modifications to B and D above. The applicant agrees to modification A, which is that as a condition of approval herein. C, as a site inspection was conducted by the listed agencies, and the driveway was redesigned to meet their concerns. The applicant has met the county's required modification. E, by submitting evidence that the New York State DEC in the final inspection of the former mining site after reclamation found no evidence of any contamination. Whereas the Planning Board considered the application material submitted by the applicant in support of the proposed action, along with the comments of his consultants made via memoranda, which memoranda are incorporated herein by reference. And whereas its meeting on March 15, 2022, the Planning Board, upon review of the entire record, including seeker short EAF Part 1, found the proposed action to be unlisted action pursuant to seeker, and made a negative declaration of environmental significance, and determined that the applicant has complied fully with the procedural requirements of Part 617 of the State Environmental Quality Review Law. And therefore, be it resolved, the Town of Wawarsing Planning Board overrides the two required modifications of the Ulster County Planning Board issued in its GML letter described as items B and D in the list of required modifications above. The reason for this first override is because the Planning Board finds that it would be cost prohibitive for this religious use building with limited use to comply with installing alternative energy sources to fossil fuels. The reason for the second override is that the town designated engineer Dennis Larios has agreed in this situation, as he has found their preliminary SWIP proposal satisfactory, and he is willing to accept that the planning board review and approve the application subject to the condition that the chairman sign the final site plan once he has reviewed and approved the final SWIP. The planning board is comfortable with the town engineer's recommended procedure. Further be it resolved that the town of Wawarsing Planning Board hereby grants site plan approval as described above for ILLUMINE Service Foundation, subject to the conditions, limitations, and restrictions set forth below. No changes, erasures, modifications, or revisions shall be made to any plan after approval and endorsement by the planning board. All fees, including consultant fees, shall be paid. The planning board chairman is authorized to sign the final plan once all of the conditions below are met. A letter of final approval of the septic facility shall be received by the Ulster County Health Department. B, the final SWIP shall be submitted to the town designated engineer for review, and an approval letter shall be received. The preliminary SWIP has already been reviewed and approved.
And can I interrupt for one moment? Because I caught something now that I didn't catch when I originally read this draft. Going back to the Ulster County Planning Board required modifications, letter E, that was not actually a required modification. That was just an advisory comment. So I think we should take that out because they're not required to do soil conditions. That's just a suggestion.
So should I just erase E here?
Yes, just take E right out. Thank you.
There's no further reference to it anywhere, right?
No, no.
Is it down there further? The applicant has met the county's required modification E.
I'm just going to say recommendation. Like
Yeah,
that.
I thought I saw it somewhere else.
Okay, let's see.
See where it is, Ricky?
So I just changed that. The applicant has met the county's recommendation. Or maybe I just don't need to say that.
You don't even need it. It's a recommendation. They've done it.
Yeah.
It's not required, so we don't have to address it.
All right. So I think that takes care of it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any discussion by the board?
I'll make that motion. Don Smallsley.
Are we still in a public hearing?
No.
We closed it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we have a motion to accept the application. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Dr. Lonstein.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay,
Good luck.
you're good to go. Thank you very much.
You guys so really from the bottom of my heart.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Great way to honor your parents.
I
Yes,
can't
absolutely.
really just about to like cry. So thank you. I'll get off.
It's okay. You can do that. That's appropriate.
That's a problem. Yep.
Very, very good. Very good.
Okay, and I have sent the resolution by
Thank you.
email.
Okay, Sabor Latino. And I know we have Eric out there.
Yes, we do.
Okay, Eric, if you could just give us a.
Yeah,
You have Tyson.
just a minute. Wait until they come into the room. There they are.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Tyson McCaslin from Timely Signs on behalf of CARMON'S SABOR LATINO, presenting a double-sided illuminated sign as per the submitted packet with steady light.
Mary Lou, I think it's advisable to waive the public hearing on this. Would you agree, or?
I do agree. You have the jurisdiction to waive public hearings on site plans. This is simply a sign, and it looks like they've done everything that you asked at our last meeting. It's of course up to the board, but I think it would be appropriate.
Can I have a motion to waive the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Oh, okay, Frank, you go ahead.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it, Don Odom.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any nays? Okay, so we waive the public hearing on that.
And Mr. Chairman, you have a memorandum from me about the application dated March 7th, and we prepared a resolution of approval for your consideration. They really have, they've made the sign smaller. They've moved it back, so now it's 10 feet from both the street line at Route 209 and the street line at Clinton Street. And there was another matter where they were supposed to provide an as-built plan for the site plan for the restaurant site, which really was from a separate approval, and that condition has been met for that previous resolution of approval. They've submitted an as-built plan. So it took a little while to get all the parts of this application in order, but I think it's pretty much ready to go.
All right, so I have a question. I have some questions on this.
Okay.
Go ahead, Paul.
And I was called the name last time. Also at the January meeting was we were told as a board that they had a signed as-built plan, which they do not. Is this plan going to be part of the record, Mary Lou, when we accept or deny this project?
Yeah, everything submitted is part of the record.
All right, because it's not accurate. There's 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. Then on the bottom, 1 inch equals 30 feet. The sign on this map is 84 inches high, which is not supposed to be. There's ballards that aren't marked. There's a storage unit, which is 20 by 30 feet, which is supposed to be a walk-in cooler, which is not like that on site. There's supposed to be a gated dumpster in the back, and there's not a 4-yard dumpster. There's probably 2-yard dumpsters and a roll garbage can. There's some concrete pillars, which I don't think was there. I know this plan does not follow what we approved. Rest in peace, John Constable. He calls me up and he says to me, Paul, we have a problem. It's not built as it was supposed to be. Should we have a new public hearing, or what should we do? And I said to John, let the building department handle it, because I didn't want this to be bogged down. And all these projects come to us and they're not done right. And it comes and bites us in the butt later, like a hotel, which is supposed to be a camp, barbecue, which now became a temple, a hotel, which was a house, trails through someone else's property, you know. And then I have an issue here. If you look at this, if you look at the map where the sign's supposed to be, it shows, now this is this unsigned site plan or on-site build. It shows the sign in front of the pergola. Now I thank Timely Signs for giving us these pictures, but there's 2 different pictures. Okay, one which shows the sign way in the back, and there's a pergola here. Okay, this you could see the southbound or the northbound 209. Now, according to the site plan, this map, here's the pergola in the front, there's the sign, and I think you block the whole view. So which one is it? Are we where you can see the northbound traffic from the stop sign, or is it blocked? Because I can't tell from this. Well, actually I can tell if I can read a map. This one shows it blocking the view coming northbound on 209. and also has a wrong size of the sign. So now what are we doing? It's a simple sign. I shouldn't be called names. I want to protect the public. So I ask, what are we doing? We have a site plan that's not accurate. We have two different positions of the sign. Where is the sign actually going to be? Blocking the northbound 209 view or not? Maybe it should be on the other side of the property line so that it takes out the whole equation of blocking the view of 209. I don't know. I'm asking the board. This is what I see.
Dr. Lunstein, may I speak to the renderings that we have submitted here?
Sure.
Okay, so the rendering on page 3, we are standing in front of this proposed site for the sign. The other drawings that you saw where the photo has the vehicle in view were the additional photos that you asked for specifically from across the street. That's why there's three different photos there. So the one was the original one showing the original placement, and the other ones were the requested photos by you. That is what we have done. The sign is absolutely nowhere near blocking anybody's view from anything at all. It will be located in the proper locations as per the guidelines of the right-of-way, as well as the property lines. Okay. I'm not sure what this name calling is that you speak of. I'm not sure who called you names.
How many feet back from the stop sign is it?
I did not take that measurement. I'm putting it at the proper distance that was requested by you guys from the right-of-way, from the DOT right-of-way, as well as the distance from the property line on Clinton Street. It was also requested by you guys.
Okay, so
it's 10 feet from the right-of-way street line on 109 and 10 feet from the right-of-way street line on Clinton Street. The stop sign is in the right-of-way.
And how wide is 209 there?
The pavement or the right-of-way?
Well, I
believe the right-of-way is 100 and the
I
pavement
can't
is
tell
60.
from this. I can't tell from this. And I'm upset because I don't think if this sign is like this at the stop sign that blocks.
That is not true, doctor. That is not true. That is the original submission, and you asked for additional photos. That is the additional photo you have in your hand that you requested.
Okay, so is this where the sign is going to actually be?
That is where it is located from all of my measurements that I took on site, which is the correct setbacks from both locations.
Okay, and looking at the unsigned site plan as built.
I did not produce that site plan.
I understand that, but this is the information that we have in front of the board. And you have the center line of 209, the sign, the business sign, see detail for signs on the bottom left corner, which is 84 inches tall, which is not right. So I don't even think we can accept this.
Where are you seeing 84 inches tall? Excuse me.
A really small little part right there. If you take a magnifying glass, you'll see it.
Yeah, that says 60 inches.
Mine says 84.
It was taken from this drawing right here.
You may have the wrong date. Let's check the dates on.
This is what I was sent today.
I may have
said March 2nd.
It's not signed or dated, so I don't even know what that is.
Well, I assure you that the height has been changed. We met all the regulations.
No, I understand. It says that in the other stuff, and the.
I agree with you, Dr. Lonstein, in that we need to have a signed and sealed as-built showing what is actually there, because this is
there's no revision date on
modification. We're approving a modification to a site plan.
That's why I don't like these maps.
And this is this is the only drawing we have as a site plan. So therefore that needs to be correct.
May I ask where it was requested to be signed and sealed? I don't see anything on
January meeting. The applicant said that he had it. I asked for.
So I'm asking where it was requested. I'm looking at the open item number 1 that Jonathan Lockman had provided to me that merely says submit as-built site plan to comply with the previous planning board request to show sign location on site plan. I don't see anything on here about signed and sealed.
Well, it doesn't matter because it's supposed to be signed and sealed.
Not
for your sign.
I understand that, which is the only reason that we're only talking about a sign here. I understand that you're bringing in these other situations that you may have other problems with. I'm presenting for the sign, for a basic double-sided sign for our client to be able to bring business to his company and make a living for his family. And I understand that you have other things going on. I get that. And I cannot speak to that. What I'm speaking to is that I'm proposing a double-sided sign that matches all the regulations you guys have put forth. And I'm still having to get in a hard time about it. And I don't understand it. I think you guys have some other issues with the applicant or the property. And I don't know what those are, but I'm here for this sign right here so my client can make a decent living. That's what I'm here for. And we have met all of the regulations and adjusted them as you requested.
Dr. Lonstein, I agree. I am now zooming in, and you are right. The sign, the location is proper, 10 feet from each line on that as-built drawing. But when you zoom in on the business sign detail, it hasn't been changed. It still says 84 inches. Where are
you sure you're looking at the submission, the latest submission?
Yeah, the one that had a file date of March 1st, that sheet number S101, and it has the green colored palm trees. The designer who made this plan pasted the older version of your sign that was higher in the corner. So Dr. Lonstein is correct in picking that up.
I can't tell. Mine's black.
And the reason, if you have a PDF and it's on a screen and it's nice and bright and you can zoom in on it, you can see. And that's so I believe that Dr. Lonstein is correctly observing that in this as-built site plan, they did not change the business sign detail with the shorter sign that's only 5 feet tall or 60 inches.
I don't understand. I mean, the one I have in my hand has the 60 inches on it clearly. So I don't know if something just got mixed up somewhere, but I have the one here that clearly says 60 inches on it.
Anyway, can I see that again, please? Can you
let me just share my screen so that we're all looking at the same thing.
That's not what's in my hand.
So maybe the wrong one was submitted.
This is what's in my hand.
Accidentally.
And it's not colorized and I can't even read it.
I bet you that's the 60, that's the same one that I have in my hand that says 60 inches. So I'm not sure.
And being as small as it was like this submitted, I can't review it myself either.
Robin, did you get any type of digital submission for this as well?
No.
You ever received any digital submission from Jody McCasland?
No. I don't even know who Jody is.
She's the person who's filing all the permits on Tell Me Sign's behalf.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I did speak to her.
Okay.
This I don't have a larger map than this size.
That is definitely not the one that's on the screen that's up right now that JT has. That is not the one that was submitted on March 1st. The one in your hand, Robin, that has 60 inches on it is the one that was submitted.
Well, the problem is, if you look at where my mouse is pointing in the upper left-hand corner, it says Carmen Abraham's updated site plan 3/1/22. It has March 1st in the file date of the PDF, and
Frankie?
And it shows the correct 10-foot offset from both streets. And that's the latest one I got had the correct offset from both streets. And I did not pick up on the fact that over there it says 84 inches.
Yeah, and I can't even see it.
Something is wrong because
magnifying glass right now.
That is not the correct one. So there's something wrong there. I mean, the one I have in my hand clearly shows 60 inches on my side. It also shows the lower sign. If you compare that to the old submission, if you scroll back over to your in there and you scroll up there, you'll see that clearly larger posts. If you just scroll back down, please, JT, just to show the actual sign rendering there, you can clearly see that the sign I have in my hand is much shorter, and the posts are way narrower to conform to what was requested. So
Yeah,
there
and I
must
can
have been
see
a
that
mix-up. I am happy to resubmit this, but this is exactly what was supposed to have been submitted, which is why I have it in my hand right now. So I'm not sure what happened there.
And I can see, sir, that the height of the woman, that the one you're holding has a shorter sign than the one I'm on. Than
He's
I'm.
not the one. He's not the one that drew that up.
Excuse me. Hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
It's Carmen. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Carmen.
Okay, so I'm just listening, and I hear all the confusion.
I'm confused.
When John the food truck, I immediately called Tyson. The guy Tyson signed. Timely signs. I'm sorry. And he spoke with John. Is his name John?
Jonathan Lockman.
Right. Sorry. And then he called me right away and said, have Sal, which is Mid-Hudson Drafting, that has been doing the work. Please have him call Robin so that there's no middleman, so that there's no confusion. I wrote everything that you guys told me. I called Sal and I said, please call Robin so that there's no confusion. Apparently he spoke with you briefly.
Yes, we did speak.
So we didn't have these problems, so that everything was in order.
You are correct, Carmen.
So I don't understand. When I spoke to Sal, he said you were very brief. I said, please get everything right. We're trying to do this the right way. It is what it is. And now we sit here for an hour, almost 2 hours, to hear that it's all wrong.
Carmen, you are 100% correct. That is exactly what happened.
I feel like
and I take full responsibility of it, because I believe that when we met on site, everything was taken care of. I did in fact have a conversation with Sal, and I did tell him, yep, everything is fine. We're good to go. Please revise your as-built drawings, submit it to the planning board, and we're good to go.
And he did exactly everything that you did, because he told me word for word. He goes, it was a very short conversation.
And it wasn't no more than 45 seconds. I said, we're good to go.
Everything that you and John told me to bullet, and I wrote it right in front of you, and I handed him the paperwork and had him call you to specifically, please don't mess this up. I mean,
he didn't. He did not mess.
Robin messed anything up.
I don't know if it's a personal thing, but I feel like every time we come on the board, we get beat down with, I don't like this. This isn't right. They're not getting it right. We're doing what we're asked to do. I don't understand. I need this to be right.
Good.
I think somehow
plan signed.
I am poor. Excuse me.
I think somehow there's two versions of this drawing out there, because the gentleman, your sign man, is holding up a drawing with a version of it with the sign that's 5 feet tall, and the PDF I have that's also dated March 1st shows it as 84 inches tall. So what we need,
I have this sign right here that says 60.
Everybody.
Yes, Robin, that's correct.
Robin, this is why I wanted him to speak to you. So you can look first, so everything will be correct.
Right. So this one says 60. This one
to me
says 60.
And I submit it to you.
And
let's let Robin talk so she can tell us what she has on her desk, Carmen.
So this one says 84. This one says 60. And this one says 60. So we have 3 different maps. 2 of them say 60, one says 84.
So
is the 84 the older submission? It would have to be the older submission.
We have, this is Frank. We have 2 dated February 16th.
The last submission that we received that we received it on March 2nd says 84.
It should not be 80. That doesn't make sense. It should not be 84.
The one that we have for February 16th, both maps that are dated February 16th say 60. And that's right here and right here. And then the one that was done on the second says 84.
So this all, it sounds like this all comes down to the fact that the little rendering in this image that you guys have on your end is not correct. Is that what this all comes down to?
Correct.
Okay.
That's what Dr. Lonstein is saying.
Okay.
So the
I'm
rendering,
actually saying we don't have a site plan. We don't have an as-built site plan. It wasn't built as what it was supposed to be, what it was accepted. We don't have, and the site plan that we have, if this is going to be part of the record, it's not true.
So you have more issues than just the sign on this site plan? Is that what you're saying?
Sure, yes.
Okay, I cannot speak to the rest of those issues, but I can say that Carmen did have the person that drafted this up speak directly to the town to ensure that everything was corrected. I'm not sure why there wasn't anything mentioned at that point to say this isn't correct. We could have.
Well, it was discussed on January's meeting.
well, I have to be honest with you. The only thing that I mentioned to Sal was only the sign. I did not mention anything else but the sign because I was under the based on our site inspection that myself and Frank and Jonathan did with Carmen. That was the only thing on the site plan that needed to be revised.
Dr. Lonstein, you were saying that you think the walk-in cooler is the wrong size on the site plan, and that there are bollards missing.
Oh yeah.
Okay, can I let me say something here, Mary Lou?
Yeah.
Okay, we have two issues going on here. We have a gentleman with us that is only involved with the sign.
Right.
So can we divorce the two issues and deal with the sign issue and what we need to do to correct that?
A couple things.
Or must we keep them together in order to resolve the whole issues?
I understand Paul's concern. So there's a couple ways we could do it. My first question is to Robin as code enforcement building inspector. After this was built, did you ever get as-built drawings for your file?
No.
Okay. So you haven't gone out and compared and make sure that the placement of everything is in conformity with the actual plan that the planning board approved a few years ago?
No, because we never had one before. They just submitted this.
Right,
Robin,
right. That's wait, let me finish. I'm trying to find a way to move forward. So when do they normally send that to you? Should you have had that some time ago?
Yes.
Or was it required that you have an as-built when it's a structure such as this?
No, we don't know if
Yeah, like Barbara says that we're not even sure if we actually have, because we had two different applications that came in front of us. One was for the actual trailer and then one was for the construction of the building. I never asked for an as-built drawing, no.
Okay.
But I do have the file on the original.
But Barbara is saying that she does have the file on the original trailer, the very first application that they had made.
All right, so that we have.
We can pull that out and we can line that up with this. I mean, I have met both Carmen and Eric on the site a few different times. We've gone over where the locations of their things are, and we've talked about the parking lines and everything that was placed there. The slab for the garbage, the slab for the freezer, the fence, the plantings. We've done all of that.
Okay, so far as the building department is concerned, is it accurate to say that the building department is satisfied with the
I'm satisfied.
Okay. All right.
I mean, we met with the highway superintendent there and one of the adjoining neighbors in relationship to the plantings. Because there was a discrepancy. And then with the piping that was underneath Clinton Avenue, we all met there. We got that all straightened out. Everything was good with that.
Okay, so Dr. Lunstein, that's the building department's call.
Okay.
They may have an issue with the building department, but that is their call.
Okay, I can't tell from the two pictures I have, the renditions on Clinton Avenue there, I can't tell where the sign actually is going to be because the one sign shows it up by the telephone pole. The other one shows it probably 15 feet away from the telephone pole. So I can't tell where this is going to be.
Dr. Lonstein,
Yes.
I believe I answered that in the last time there. You will clearly see in the picture that you're saying looks like it's next to the telephone pole, that sign picture was taken in the summer, which is how long ago this project has started.
Okay, so where is the sign going to be?
The additional photos in the snow that you requested are in the proper location from the vantage point that you asked for, which is 10 feet from the right of way and 10 feet from the property line as clearly stated in the submissions. That is the bottom line, is it comes down to what is clearly stated in the
We're talking about this one here?
That is from the vantage point that you requested, yes. That follows
So
what it
the sign is about 15 feet back from the stop sign?
It is located 10 feet from the right of way, which is what was requested.
I don't know where the right of way is.
I see what Paul.
I have this.
I see what Paul's talking about.
I can't tell where this sign is going to be. I can't tell if it's going to block traffic. Block the view of the northbound 209. I can't tell. You can tell me you can be at this line, and this line. I don't have a certified sign map that tells me where this is going to be.
Paul, do you have this map?
I am for this sign. It shouldn't be that hard. I can't get the information I need here. Which map is that, Robin?
Can you look in do you have this map here?
I have to find it. Hold on.
There's one sort of like that, but it's a different angle, Paul, and it looks like this.
It's from the other direction.
Correct.
There actually is the March 1 drawing that I'm sharing the screen on right now shows the telephone pole. I'm circling it with my mouse.
Okay. Yep.
And here's the sign that's 10 feet back from the right-of-way line and 10 feet back from Clinton Street. So the forward post of the sign is actually behind the telephone pole.
So we're talking of this rendition, because that one lines up with the telephone pole. Now 209 curves there. You can't see down the road. You can't see northbound. The traffic coming north.
Can't you? Paul, I'm sorry. I'm looking. Frankie and I are looking at this one map that we have in our hand right now.
I'm trying to find it.
Okay. And that's more than 10 feet from the stop sign.
Because the stop sign's in the right of way. The stop sign is not on the property.
Right. Right.
So if the sign is 10 feet from both property lines, it's more than 10 feet behind the stop sign, and there shouldn't be any sight distance problem, especially.
Jonathan, can you bring that picture up for me? I can't seem to get into that file. If you don't mind.
You should be able to see it right now. My screen indicates that I'm screen sharing. Do other people see the drawing?
Yes, I do.
I'm talking about the picture Robin was holding up.
This one. He's talking about this one, Jonathan, right here.
Okay.
It says on the bottom date on this says January 31st, 20. So it's this map.
Okay, I'll try and
the
bring
same
that up.
thing-
Hold on.
The same
Wait
one
a
as
minute,
as
the
this
same
one.
one I was showing before.
Right, 100%. Right, what's the
Okay.
bottom date, Paul? What's the bottom date? It
January
should say-
31st, 22.
Correct. So these are the dates of these two maps. So
I
we see the pole.
Okay, but this was said, this was the one that was in the winter. Okay.
So you
Can
see
I-
this?
So this is where
Can
the
I make-
map's going to be.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
That we
John.
just go ahead and take that photograph, that rendering from the summer and take it out of the package because that is obviously incorrect.
You mean this one? You mean
I'm in
this one?
agreement. Yes,
Correct.
that satisfies me.
That would resolve that.
Thank you.
Okay, so you want, we're taking it out. It doesn't,
And
it doesn't exist.
I don't think this map should be in part of the, should be included in this application because it's wrong.
Or you can make a decision that says, this is approved only as to sign location. We make no determination as to location of other items on the map.
Good.
And
Would
I
that
think
do it?
that's Mary Lou, that's the way to go.
Good, Mary Lou.
Can you repeat that so Barbara has that in the minutes, please, so we
I
have it
can't
correct?
possibly repeat that. Yes, I will.
Thank you.
But why don't, I think that if you're ready, that Jonathan has a proposed resolution and we can add that into the resolution.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay?
We're going
Could you
to
put
make
that
a
up?
motion and they're going to put it in that we're going to take out one of these, the actual one that was done in the summertime, because it's not correct compared to the ones that was done in the winter time. That is correct.
Jonathan,
So I would
if you could
suggest
put that
if-
resolution up.
I'll put the resolution up and we'll read the entire thing and we can amend it till
Yes.
you're satisfied.
Okay. Carmen Sabor Latino, sign approval, 7610 Route 209, section block and lot number 83-10.10-3-12.200. Whereas the applicant timely signs on behalf of Carmen Sabor Latino is seeking approval to construct an internally lit sign 36 inches high by 96 inches wide, 3 foot by 8 foot or 24 square feet. The sign would be placed between two flagstone pillars, 9 inches wide by 60 inches high. Overall sign height is proposed at 60 inches or 5 feet. The bottom of the sign would be 2 foot above grade. The sign is proposed to be added to the southeast corner of the site, just outside of the Route 209 right away. Plantings are shown in the rendering to enhance the ground area at the bottom of the flagstone pillars. And whereas the parcel is located in the mixed-use MU zoning district on the west side of Route 209, just south of Walmart, and contains 0.77 acres, the Ulster County Parcel Viewer does not show any environmental constraints on the property. And whereas this is an application to amend to a previously approved site plan application to add a freestanding internally lit sign.
Excuse me,
public
Doug.
hearing-
Doug,
Yeah,
up there under the first, the second whereas, or no, the
Yes.
first whereas,
Yes.
plantings are shown in the rendering. I think that should be stricken. Or it should be say plantings are to be placed to enhance the ground area at the bottom of the flagstone pillars, because we're taking that one rendering out. Does that make sense?
okay. Yeah, it does. Mary Lou, you have some suggested wording for that?
You can see what I just wrote. I wrote what Don said. Plantings are to be placed to enhance the ground area at the bottom of the flagstone pillars.
There you go. Okay.
Is
How's that?
sorry, is that necessary?
that's
Can we
fine.
just remove that line?
Well, are you requiring plantings, folks? That's,
I mean,
I'm not requiring it. Are you?
I don't think it's necessary.
I
I'm-
think it would actually be better without, because that would clear up any sight lines or anything else that, you
so
know,
take it out.
take it
Remove
out.
it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, and whereas this is an application to amend the previously approved site plan application to add a freestanding internally lit sign, a public hearing may be waived as no special permit is required. And whereas the application materials submitted for amendment to a site plan approval in support of the proposed actions include, and the detail is there.
Do we want to go up to that previous one? This application is to amend a previously approved site plan application, or should we change that? This application is strictly to add a sign?
No, because adding the sign is an amendment.
Okay, but then do we want, is this the place we want to list? We are only approving the sign location and
I would do that. I would do that.
No, that will be later.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good enough.
Good
Okay,
question.
sorry.
Had the same one.
So you may want to skip the listing of all the documents there.
Well, do we want to skip the listing? Because I want to make sure we have the right documents because we had some conversation about
whether they're right or not. This is a list of everything I had.
Okay, well, we just all agreed that the ones that are correct are the ones that you say January 31st, 2022. The other ones are not correct.
So should they be removed?
But they're not correct, but they're submitted.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
in other words, like
But that shows it as 60 and not 84.
Right, but for
We're
instance,
going to
with
address that after to say that.
with Cresco
we'll
Labs,
find
we
it.
listed, we have documents listed that they gave us where the building's in an entirely different place, but that have been superseded by later ones.
Right.
Right.
We
So
list
we will-
everything.
I think that later on down in this, we will say that we need a final map that will show that it is corrected to show it's 60 inches. So there's no question.
With today's date.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm not going to read the fine detail there.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Whereas referral to the Ulster County Planning Board was not required for the proposed sign pursuant to the UCPB Land Use Referral Guide agreement between Ulster County and the town of Warsing. And whereas the Planning Board considered the application material submitted by the applicant in support of the proposed action, along with the comments of its consultants made via memoranda, which memoranda are incorporated herein by reference. And whereas at its meeting held on March 15, 2022, the Planning Board, upon review of the entire record, including Seeker's short form EAF Part 1, found the proposed action to be a Type 2 action pursuant to Seeker, requiring no further environmental review, and determined that the applicant has complied fully with the procedural requirements of Part 617 of the State Environmental Quality Review Law. Be it resolved, the Town of Warsing Planning Board hereby grants an amendment to the site plan approval by CARMON'S SABOR LATINO restaurant for the addition of a freestanding internally lit sign as described above, subject to the conditions, limitations, and restrictions set forth below. No changes, erasures, modifications, or revisions shall be made to any plans or documents after approval and endorsement by the Planning Board. All fees, including consultant fees, shall be paid. The site plan approval public hearing is waived per the Town of Warsing zoning code. The Planning Board Chairman is authorized to sign the final plan for the sign once all of the conditions below are met. As per the design submitted, the size of the proposed sign shall be 24 square feet, and the area of the two pillars shall be 7.5 square feet, 0.75 foot times
5 foot.
Yeah, 5 foot times 2
feet.
2 feet.
feet, with a total, you got too many periods in it, with a total of 31.5 square feet on one side to meet the standards of Chapter 112, Appendix B. B, the maximum height of the freestanding sign shall be 5 feet to meet the standards of Chapter 112, Appendix B. C, the setback from the highway right-of-way line for Route 209, as well as the setback from street line, front property line along Clinton Street, shall meet the requirements of paragraph 112-18.d.8, which states no sign shall exceed in height half of its distance from the highway right-of-way, notwithstanding any other height limitations. Therefore, the proposed height of the sign is 5 feet. It shall be set back 10 feet from the right-of-way line of each street. The sign shall be illuminated by a steady light per paragraph 112-18.d.10.
Okay, so let's figure out where to put this.
Okay, so, all right.
Okay.
Right. With the resolution.
I'm figuring out where we're going to put this in.
And I think it should be higher.
You don't want it at E then. Okay. Where would you like
it? I think it should be just
yeah,
before
I'm
this
thinking
part
we need
here.
it somewhere in the A and B range.
Yeah.
Okay. After B, so we have in A, as per the designs submitted, we get our total area there.
Right.
And then in B, the maximum height of the freestanding sign shall be 5 feet to meet the standards of Chapter 112, Appendix B. Applicant shall submit a new design map.
Do you want that to be a new item C or in the same line as B?
I think it can be in B because that's what.
Okay. Go ahead.
Shall submit a new design plan showing that the height of the sign is 60 inches, 5 feet, whatever way you want to put it. And then we can add a C, so we'll be re-lettering a little bit, that says the design maps.
I'm going to call it a site plan.
That's fine. The site plan is accepted by the planning board for purposes of the design and placement of the sign only. And not as indications of placement of other, pick a word here, of
features.
Other site design features. And if you want, we can either put which shall comply with previous approvals.
I would put a new site plan shall be submitted, and this is prior to the chairman signing.
Can I ask a question?
Signed and dated by the designer. What?
Okay, but Jonathan, previously Robin said that we didn't need to have that.
Right. So
okay.
We're not,
okay. I'm glad that we're making the revisions right here in the resolution, and we're all going to agree with it, and we're all going to say yes, because on the bottom of Jonathan's review as it is on line number D, even though we're making the corrections here, he does say that it's not going to be no more than 5 feet tall.
Right. Right.
Okay. I don't want to keep on having them come back and come back and come back. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to the board, but this is just a sign. Okay.
right. And we just have to make sure we have the right plan. So if somebody comes and looks at this in 5 years.
But we're not going to hold them up any further.
No, they're going to have to just give us a correct. give us that corrected 60-inch sign.
I will submit an updated one of
Plan.
these with the
That's all.
corrected on.
We're doing this
Yeah,
so
we're
that
only
we
talking
don't
about
have
the
to hold
sign,
them up.
Robin.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure.
Come back to us for
I
something else later. They're gonna have to submit again another application.
Okay, I
Right.
just I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
So what
Yeah,
should what else should I do to see?
I don't think anything. Right?
Nothing.
Yeah,
don't
we
have
just
to do
mentioned
anything.
this for the sign only.
Yep.
And sounds good.
Okay,
So are we done?
I think
and we're
we're done.
leaving D the way that it is.
Yes.
D the way
Yeah,
that it
'cause
is.
that's- yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
All right,
I would
fine.
like to make that motion to approve this.
Yeah.
If I remember right, I think I also made the motion to approve the
I think you
truck
did.
first one too.
I think Carmen wanted to say something.
Okay, so I just want to be clear. With this, everything that you guys have just said and everything that's typed up in here, are we good or do we have?
You're
or do
good for
we
the
have to-
sign if they vote yes for it.
Yeah, if we vote yes, then Tyson's just gonna get us a new picture tomorrow showing the right height. That's all.
Can I submit that via email?
If everybody's okay with it, and
I don't
as
see-
long as I can read it too, it's
I was
legible.
gonna say, do you need a physical map for your file?
I need a physical map. I need a physical map.
All I ever get is one copy.
And Barbara's saying all she gets is one copy, so we're gonna need more than one copy.
I mean, nobody ever gets anything.
And I would like it to be Tyson colored, not black and white.
No problem. And the digital copy will allow you to zoom in as well. That will accompany the hard copy, so you can zoom in as far as you guys need.
Yep.
So he's
digital,
gonna
and-
digital,
but
he's gonna
definitely,
send it to us by computer first, Barbara, and then we're gonna have a hard copy come by mail, and it's
how
going to be
many hard
colorized.
copies do you need, Robin and Barbara? So Tyson can get you the right number.
I'd like to have at least 3. One for Carmen, one for the building permit for the sign, and one for the planning board file to keep in permanent record in the planning
Right.
board.
So we need 2. I mean,
And
we
one
can-
downstairs to the town clerk. So just do 5, please.
5 copies, you got it.
Thank you.
I need to ask Robin a question.
Okay, wait,
Please.
but we're in the middle of a.
Let's do the motion, Carmen.
It's regarding the.
Oh, okay, wait, she says it's regarding the
Okay,
motion.
normally we don't talk to applicants about our
So the motion
motions.
is on
I
to
will leave
approve
that
the
up
sign.
to-
Can we?
I will leave
Need a
that up
second.
to the chair, whether he
Why
wants
don't-
to.
Why don't we proceed with the motion?
Did you get a second?
Not yet.
I'll second it. Don
Okay.
Swansley.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Any nays?
The first was Paul.
Right.
As was the
Donald
original for the
Schmalzi.
food truck.
So Paul Lonstein, seconded by Donald Schmalzi.
And then a unanimous approval vote.
Yep.
Now, Doug, if you'd like to see if Carmen has something, that's up to you.
Okay.
I'm good,
Carmen,
thank you.
you do have
Okay.
your sign, so we should be good to go.
Thank you.
Good luck with it.
Sorry it took so long.
Sorry for
to
all
get
the
to-
confusion, guys.
Hey,
We corrected it all, so that's good.
thank you.
Okay.
And you have a
Everybody have a good
copy,
night.
and you have a copy
Night.
of the resolution, Robin.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay. Can
All
I
right,
get a
Tyson, I
motion?
guess I'll speak to you tomorrow.
You shall. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good evening.
Okay, that was fun.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to accept the minutes from the last month's
You
meeting?
still have one more
I think we have
applicant.
the storage.
Oh, yeah,
You
you're
have
right.
quality
Need a
services.
motion for the extension.
Yeah, I just need a motion for the extension for 6 months for quality service. The
I'll make that
self-service
motion.
storage. How about a second?
I'll second.
So
All in favor?
Frankie and Eric.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay. 6 months extension granted. I need a motion to accept the minutes from last month's meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
No nays? Okay, I think that closes out tonight. Does anybody have any comments, anything that we need to discuss?
So we will be meeting next month in person at Town Hall, correct?
Yes.
I would think so. You know, if the governor's going to extend it, she'll do it tomorrow, but I don't, you know, things are a lot different now than they were over the winter. So it wouldn't prohibit you from having a live meeting.
They're different even now than they were 4 weeks ago when we had to
Yeah,
decide
absolutely.
it. Because we had to have time to put it in the paper. So, guys, it was an interesting evening. One of the biggest projects I think this board has done in the years that I've been on it. And
It'll be great to see the employment, you know,
you know, this and Walmart, I mean, this was up there.
Walmart
was
took longer and they had an excellent attorney.
Yeah, they did. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this board did its job. I'm sorry that this sign issue with CARMON'S, SABOR, LATINO.
I am too. I'm very, very sorry.
But,
I didn't catch it. I didn't see it.
We
It's,
worked through it.
I'll say that it's,
I
I'll
was
take on
satisfied with it.
I'll take on the
Yep.
full responsibility.
Well,
Hey,
the other-
we made it work.
So anyway,
there
we
was a lot of-
did.
There was a lot of frustration all along, and I think it was,
Barbara would like you guys to adjourn the meeting so that she can go home and you guys can continue
All
talking.
right, make a motion
No,
to
you
adjourn Barbara from the
Talking if
meeting.
you adjourn.
All right, guys, we have a motion to close the
About
meeting.
applications after you adjourn.
Yeah.
But we can just stop talking about them.
So we're done, right? Did we vote on it?
Is there anything else we need to do, Mary Lou?
No, I think we're set. Just a motion
No,
to
Barbara,
adjourn.
they did not.
All right, can I
Motion
have a
to
motion
adjourn.
to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
We're good.
All in favor?
Aye.
All seconded.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Who
night.
seconded that?
You can give it to me.
Paul seconded it. Frankie did it. Good night, everybody.
All right, I'm pulling the plug.
Good night.
Drive safe.